Vocabulary Lesson 9. Let's get to it. Let's look at these words and let's learn them together. The first word is sear. Sear obviously can mean, if it's a verb, S-E-A-R, something totally different from this sear, S-E-R-E, which means dry and withered. Think of like a tree branch, or like what I like to do to honeysuckle when I dig it up from the ground and never let it live again. Because I hate honeysuckle, because it's an invasive species that gets everywhere. It's heinous. Okay, well, it's maybe not heinous, hatefully or shockingly evil. Okay, so you think more of like a really bad criminal doing something really bad is heinous. I was exaggerating. I was just enhancing, to use the next word, enhancing, increasing the value or beauty of something. I guess in this case, enhancing was increasing the hyperbole. I was overstating it just a bit. Unctuous is like insincerely polite, right? So you ever been up talking to someone, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's so wonderful. Yes, you're so great. Yes, sir. Whatever you need," right? Exaggeratingly or insincerely polite. Magnanimous. I think of someone magnanimous. They are just so. It's not just that they're generous. They are sincerely kind and generous to people who maybe don't deserve it. Just magnanimous. They're just great people. Okay? Postulate, you just guess. Now they say assume as, or claim as true, especially when arguing. Yes, when it comes to the science of logic, you postulate something, you have a postulation. That's true. But when you think of if you're postulating something, you're kind of guessing that it's right. And kind of like a hypothesis, right? Contrite, you really feel sorry for what you've done, feel humble about it. You are just really sorry. What does it say here? Feeling regret for having committed some wrongdoing. You're obviously in the wrong if you're contrite. Collaborate, you work with someone else. That's very different from corroborate. That's when you verify something has happened. But if you collaborate, I collaborate with other teachers to try to give you good instruction. Impound means to, I always think of a car with impound, right? Or that's where we get like a pound for dogs. It's a place where you secure something, you confine it so that it can't get out. The next thing is impeccable. It just means perfect. That's easy. Inane, pointless. What do they say here? Without sense or meaning. Silly, right? So it's just like silly, pointless, like, it's not a bad thing. It's just kind of pointless. Next is an expatriate. It's a noun. It's somebody who leaves their native country to go somewhere else. T.S. Eliot's an example. They use it in the book, but he's a great example. Somebody who was American, he decided to live in Europe for the rest of his life. Frowsy, unkempt. You're like, what does that mean? It means like messy, like your hair is frowsy. Like if I were to do this to my hair, now it's a little frowsy. Back to normal. And then evoke means to bring forth, okay? Literally means out of speak. Voc means voice, and e means out of or from or something like that. So to summon forth, right? But it's not like you're a wizard, okay? It's, let's say I were to say, wow, your tone really evokes emotion in me. It brings it out. It summons up in me some kind of emotional response. And then finally, emulate means to imitate. Pretty simple. Hopefully this has been helpful. You might emulate me in going over these words and trying to think of your own definitions so that you will be able to do well on the quiz and use and understand these words in everyday life, because these are great words.